welcome back. So I'm still working on the Polaris 400 two-stroke Explorer 400. So last video, got this thing running. It was missing the air box, so I have ordered one of those, and the guy has been messing me around about shipping it. So I'm probably gonna have to get my money back and order one from somewhere else. But in the meantime, the water pump started leaking. So what happened was the water pump seal started leaking and antifreeze started coming out the weep hole. So this is the water pump housing here, and it has this little weep hole here. And these seals, you got one facing this way on the front here and one facing the opposite way. So what happened was antifreeze will get pushed by these seals if the seals wore out or the shaft that the seals ride on. So this shaft here, it has some grooves in it due to the seal. You wouldn't think rubber will wear into a metal shaft, but it will over time. And on these things, they're bad about the water pump having a leaking issue, and due to this shaft. So you can keep replacing the seal, and it will keep leaking. So anyway, I found that out. So what I did, I put some JB Weld, trying to get my light on here. I just went around it with a light coat of JB Weld, and I took some medium grit sandpaper, and what I did was I put the flywheel nut back on. Now this gear here will come flying off there if you don't have something to secure it, because the flywheel backs up against it, keeps it tight on the crankshaft. So that's why I got the hose clamp. And I just ran the drill, my impact, at a low RPM, holding a piece of sandpaper, and was able to get it smooth after the JB Weld dried up. And so that covered up the grooves, and hopefully when I put the water pump back on, I'm gonna put new seals in the pump anyway, but I put the bearing on first. The first time I did it, I didn't put the bearing on, and I kept sanding and sanding and sanding the JB Weld, and I got the bearing on there, and it just wasn't, it kept hanging up before it flushed out to this gear here. This is your balance shaft, and this is your gear that runs off the crankshaft. The balance shaft has a spiral gear at the other end that's made onto the shaft, and that what runs your oil pump, which is your oil pump is oil pump is right here on front of the motor, this boxy thing here. So you can replace that shaft, but there's a special puller. It's like a 3-jaw puller thing that I don't know if you can find it anymore. And you can pull this shaft out of the motor and replace it. But finding a good shaft that ain't all grooved up, good luck. I looked all on eBay. I found like one that wasn't too bad, and they want like 200 bucks for this balance shaft. So anyway, I smoothed it out the best I could, made sure it's nice and round. I put just probably not a real thick coat. The first time I put a thick coat of JB Weld on there, and I did a lot of sanding, and it didn't turn out right. But I read on one of the ATV forums for Polaris's, it's like a post somebody posted back in 2009 that did the same thing, and he had went back on there like a year later and said it was still working. It was holding up. But you probably can take this shaft to a machine shop. Maybe they can put some more metal on it and mic it and smooth it out. But I'm gonna try the JB Weld. I mixed it up with some extra hardener. I'm gonna try it and see how that works. But your water pump housing, let's see, I haven't changed the seals yet. It goes back on that bearing back there, and it feels pretty tight. So we'll see how that works. Like I said, I really don't want to spend $200 for a balance shaft. And I did some research on these engines here, and that was the main problem. They had a problem keeping the water pump seals from leaking over time. Now, I did read a guy had put an electric water pump on one of these. He bought an electric water pump off of like Amazon or eBay, and he was able to get that to work. He wired it in. It took quite a bit of what can I say, parts to get it to work, but it worked. He didn't have a picture of it. He just had it laid out on what he did and what you need to get to do that. Now that could be an option, electric water pump. So if this don't hold out, I think the parts he had, he probably didn't spend over $75, and it's just getting everything hooked up. So if I go that route, I'll show y'all how that works. But for right now, I'm gonna do the JB Weld thing, and then if that water pump seal still leaks, I'm gonna just find another shaft. That one is on there, but they had a lot of people looking at it. You can see on eBay when a lot of people got in their watch list. I get that shaft, which I doubt the guy's gonna come off that $200 or whatever it was, or we'll go with the electric water pump. So, but I'm gonna get this thing back together. I got it pretty smooth if I can get it. I didn't want to get the sanding too much and sand all the JB Weld away. So I'm gonna get it back together. Maybe, I know oil comes in one side of the seal, so this would be the oil side. Well, I think oil, yeah, this would be the oil side, and this would be the antifreeze side, because your water is circulating through this pump, and the cover is on the back of your timing cover. I don't know why they put the water pump inside the motor like this. They should have put it on the outside. You can easily get to it. Let's see if I can get this thing to move here. I kind of threw it up there. But that's the front facing of the cover there. So that's where, hold on a second. Alarm going off. But yeah, that is the facing of the water pump there. So it bolts through, the studs go through this case cover, and then that seals it with a gasket. So that's gonna be the thing. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this thing back together. Hopefully I get the air box pretty soon, so I can go ahead and button this thing all the way up. I can put the front plastics on. I was going to do that until I had this leak coming from the water pump. So fingers crossed, hope it works. Oh, and one more thing I forgot to add. When I was talking about pulling this balance shaft out, there's a guy on YouTube. I'll try and put a link to his page. He made a tool out of a harmonic balancer puller that you can bolt on here, and he made like a slide hammer that you can hammer to pull this shaft out of here without having to split the cases. You don't have to split the cases or nothing. But he made a tool that you can slide hammer this shaft out and replace it. The only problem is this is kind of pressed on to this shaft, and I did read that this will come off the shaft, but his didn't come off. But some guy said if you take a bunch of big washers and put on here and put a small washer with the water pump nut, and that will keep this held onto this shaft while you slide hammer it out, and you won't have to worry about the gear coming off the shaft, because there's a bearing on the other side of the case in the bottom end. So if you slide hammer it on this, it's just it could potentially pull it out off the shaft, and then the shaft is just going to be stuck in the block. So like I said, I'll try and put his info on there and you can check that out. That's if you're messing with one of these old Polaris 400 True Strokes. It's the same on the Scrambler. It's a Scrambler, Explorer, and they had one more. I can't remember what the other one was. But same ordeal, same water pump setup, same engine. So, all right, I'm getting to work. All right, so we got the engine all the way back together on this thing. So far, no coolant leak through the water pump weep hole. I've been watching it, and the weep hole is right there. So there's no coolant leak there. Put all the oil back in it, ran it. But I found out one thing. This thing smokes really, really bad. And come to find out that the oiler, which is your 2-stroke injection pump, it's right here on the front of the motor. And you'll see in the picture, when I pulled off, there's a tube that goes right here in the bottom of the front blower cover. Pull that off, which is this thing here. It was on like that. There was a little visitor that got stuck in here, and that visitor was the one that brought all those acorns and pecans and stuff in the blower cover. You'll see it in the picture. So it was gross. But anyway, this oiler here was stuck wide open. So what was going on, when I hit the throttle, which I'm fixing to do it now, I hit the throttle, I let off of it, the oiler just stays wide open. It's supposed to return back down. The cable is getting stuck, and it was melting against the head. I guess it was doing that before I got it, but you see where I kind of separated it, where it burnt the outer coating of the cable. And I tried to spray oil in there. It'll work sometimes, sometimes it won't. So it was just really over oiling and burning a lot of 2-cycle oil and smoking real bad. And I noticed oil dripping out of the pipe right here. So it was just putting too much 2-cycle oil from the injection pump into the intake. So ordered a new throttle cable. It's a 3-way throttle cable. Actually, you got your main part that goes up here in the handle. Then you got, I didn't open it yet. You got this end that goes in the carburetor. And the other end goes into the injection pump housing. You see, they got this heat shrink covering over it to keep the heat off the cable, because it runs beside the head. So keep the cable from getting hot and melting the inner plastic. There's an inner plastic inside of the cable that keeps the metal part of the cable from rubbing the outer part of the cable, which is that spiral metal. So it'll rub that, and if it didn't have that plastic coating that goes over the actual inner cable, and it can hang up and break, which that's probably what it is. It probably melted that inner plastic, and now the cable's just hung up or hanging up. But just disconnect it here. It goes through the housing here, and it goes around that wheel, and you can adjust these pumps. They have an adjuster mark on it, and you can adjust it where you want it to open and close. You adjust it by the cable right here, and there's a little line. You see that line on the wheel. I don't know if you, it's hard getting in here. There's a little line. I don't know if you can see it. You see that mark right on the wheel, and there's a mark on the pump housing. So them lines supposed to line up when it's fully closed. So if it's not lined up, it won't pump right. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get this cable removed. I tried to drill in here and oil it, that didn't work. I tried to bust this open, that didn't work. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove this cable, get it all hooked up, and we'll run it. It shouldn't be smoking terribly bad, because the oiler will be oiling like it's supposed to. I got regular gas in the gas bottle, and then we can move on to putting the gas tank on and go ahead, get the front plastics on. The air box will be here tomorrow, which will be Friday. Finally found one. The guy I bought one from before, he's supposed to refund my money since he never shipped it out. But I got one coming from a place on eBay that parts out four-wheelers. Those things are pricey too, like $175 for air box. But it's a special air box just for the 400 Explorer and Scrambler. So anyway, I'm gonna stop yapping, go ahead and get this cable on there, let's get this thing fired up and make sure it's gonna run right. Problems. So the new cable has a bent elbow with a lock nut that goes into the throttle. The original cable has this snap-in style end. So the other end of the cables are the same, but this hole here is a little bit too small. So if I'm gonna run that cable, I have to drill it out, stick it through there, hook it on to the thumb throttle wheel there, and hopefully that will work. I tried to take the cable apart, which I got it apart. I was just going to put this in on this end, but that won't work. Oops, something in the middle. That won't work because this is way too skinny. And the cable, when you take this one apart, it's made inside of it like this one. So I got plenty of thumb throttles, extra ones. I guess I'm gonna drill that out, and then I'll be able to put this one on. But the thing about it, I want the flashlight. When it's in there, it's gonna be pointing like that. So I thought about trying to bend this elbow some straighter where it'll come more out instead of straight down and put the cable in a bind. But I'll see what I can do. First thing I need to do is get this drilled out so I can put this in there, put the lock nut on the other side, and get this to working. So I'm gonna get to working on this catastrophe here. Alright, so got the cable on. I did have to end up drilling this thumb throttle housing to get that cable in there. I tried to bend this to make it a lot straighter and I felt like it was going to snap off, so I just left it alone. But it's working. I cranked it up. I bled the oil pump. There's a bleeder screw on the oil pump that is actually this 10 millimeter or flathead screw right here, up here on the top. If you crank it up, it says in the book, crank it up and let it idle and just barely open that screw and you should get oil coming out. When you get a good stream of oil, that means that you bled all the air out. And you can see that this is starting to completely fill up. So I got all the air bled out. I loosened it from the carburetor down here. We're on the intake. A little hose right there. Took it loose, ran it, got oil coming out. And now, when you operate the throttle, that's opening and closing good. So now the oiler works, and also there's a little mark, I don't know if you can see it, there's a little mark on the wheel and there's a little mark on the pump. You got to make sure those lines are lined up. I'll show you in the book, but those have got to be lined up so everything will be in tune right. So now I get a chance to put the plastics on. That shows that mark right there. So get a chance to put the plastics on now and start buttoning this thing up, and then when the airbox comes, I'll really be done with it. I'm going to take that ugly toolbox off the back because it's rattling, making noise, and we'll be ready to take it out for a test drive. All right. So hopefully this is the last missing piece to this Explorer 400 two-stroke. This is the airbox. It came in today. I got it from a guy on eBay. Like I say, I had ordered one from a guy that I previously bought some parts from before in person. He didn't send me the part. I'm waiting on him to send the money back. So in the meantime, I just went on eBay, sucked it up, paid the full price for one, and here it is. Hopefully this is all we need for this project, because I've been through hell and high water with it. The box was kind of ripped. Looks like it. Now this is supposed to fit the Scramblers and the Explorer. Oh, it's got the cage. Issue. Oops. Let's sit on the box. Look like it's got a filter in it. Some hair in there, but he had a picture of it on eBay.
Oh, looks like there's something broke. The cage is broke. I didn't see that. The cage is broke, but still it'll hold a filter. Let's see, can I get this little silver cap off? Can't find one perfect, I can tell you that. And he didn't have a or best offer price, so it's 12. I had to go with what I can go with, but I bought it. It's here. The outer filter is kind of toasty toast. Yeah, the little cage inside is broken from the plastic. Not a huge big deal. I can put some super glue on it or some plastic epoxy. Glue that back in there. Oh, what's this? It's a bag or something. What are these, the bolts? Huh, he even sent the bolts that bolts it to the four-wheeler frame. How nice. For what I paid for it, it smells like rat piss. For what I paid for it, he should have sent the bolts. $170 something shipping. Now this has got an outer filter. It's not too bad. I probably can. Man, that thing stinks. Oh man, reeks. You can see the hair on it. Something was living in there, but it's not too bad. I can clean it up. The inner filter looks good, but I guess I gotta get some plastic epoxy. Glue this back on, which it'll come out of there. It's just a bunch of Phillips head screws in there. I can take it out of there, glue it, and put the filter back on. I cleaned the box out too. It's got a lot of rodent hair in it. Hope he ain't still in there. That would suck. But anyway, this is the air box. I'm gonna get it cleaned up, get it on the four-wheeler. I got the gas tank on it. I haven't cranked it yet, but the gas tank should run, and we'll test run it and see how it runs with the air box. Might have to make some air fuel adjustments on the carburetor. It had a little drain right here, a little plug you take out. It got broke. I got some. Yeah, adjust the carburetor and go from there. But at least we finally got the air box. Finally.
Okay, so we're letting this thing sit. It really sit overnight. I want this glue to really cure. So let's cut these zip ties off. And I think we ought to be good. I've used that JB Well minute well before. It works pretty good. Goes on clear. I got these little zip ties on there. That was just trying to hold everything solid. I thought about leaving them on there, but it's pretty solid. I mean, it's just got these screws that holds it in the air box. And if I don't take them out, it won't flush against the bottom of the air box. There's actually a seal that goes between it. So we cut this off. And I put some all around here because it was starting to come apart. So plastic gets brittle. But yeah, it's pretty solid. So I'm gonna get it back in the four-wheeler, get the air box hooked up. We'll fire it up, see how different it runs with the air box on it and the carburetor all sealed up. Alright, so the air box is on, all buttoned down and everything. You don't want to crank down too tight on these screws because that's what holds the filter, and this is part of the cage. So if you keep cranking down on them, it's going to pull that plastic, put a lot of stress on that plastic cage. That's probably what happened to it, because there's another screw up under here that holds another plate, and you be cranking down on that thing, it'll snap that plastic. So let's crank it up. Let's see how it's going to do with the air box on it. And I got the gas tank connected now, and there's no premix at all in the tank. It's just straight gas. So if we don't see a lot of smoke, that means the oil ain't working right. But to my knowledge, checking the pump, oil pump out and everything, it seems to be working. So let's see, key on, neutral. Some chokage. Might have to turn out on the air screw a little bit. Not sure yet. Sounds kind of flirtery. It's still got a lot of oil in the bottom end where that oiler was stuck wide open with the cable being stuck. So it's got to burn a lot of that out too.
Dial it down just a tad. Burning rubber on the ground. I think I lost my screwdriver. Somewhere. Man, that sucker took off, laid some rubber down. I didn't think it was going to do that. The black marks. But yeah, it cleared out good then. I came out on that air screw, probably about another half a turn. And it took off like a jackrabbit. I gotta find my screwdriver. Now we can move on to putting the plastics on. I've been working on the front plastics, taking the heat gun, just kind of heating it up in spots, trying to get it back from this to, I'm trying to find a spot that ain't faded, something like that. It's going to be a little darker because heating it up takes a little bit of the color to dark. But it's gonna say 325, even though it's a 400. I might try and cut that off. At least it'll say just Magnum, even though it's an Explorer, but who cares? But anyway, I'm gonna move on to getting the plastics on. I'm gonna make sure the cooling fan works, which the temperature light didn't come on. It's still smoking, so the oiler's working, and we'll move on from there with it. But as of now, it runs pretty good. Well, we got the four-wheeler all the way together, and it looks like a four-wheeler. Got everything on it, all the plastics, all the lights and stuff work on it. Headlights, tail light. I did have to modify this side cover. I don't know why it came off the same year, but I had to cut this hole open a little bit bigger for the brake pedal. But it has a problem. The water pump started leaking again. Sitting here running it after I put the plastics on. I got an antifreeze puddle. It's leaking from the weep hole again. So that water pump shaft is going to have to be changed. The JB weld that I put on there, I guess it finally wore through, and it's leaking. So this thing's just gonna go up for sale. I'm not putting not another dime in it. I'm not putting no more time in it. I'm gonna throw it up on Marketplace for sale. I mean, it still runs good. It cranks right up. Sits there at idles and everything. So I'm just gonna put it up for sale. I'm done with it. I got other projects I can be working on, and I have put a lot of time and quite a bit of money in this thing, and it's just gonna go up for sale. So you guys interested in it out there, I'll take $800 for it, just like it's set. I mean, you know, it's got a brand new top end. It's got a lot of new stuff, new battery. I'm just tired of fooling with it. $800. I mean, it's a running four-wheeler. You get the water pump shaft and put in it. That'll keep the water pump from leaking, and you have a good four-wheeler. Got it. Lots of potential. Like I say, I'm not going to fool with it anymore. So it's going on Marketplace. That's going to be it. So that's going to be it for the Polaris Explorer 400. That's going to be it on it. Like, share, subscribe. I hope y'all enjoyed the segments on this thing. Like I said, I got another four-wheeler I got to put together. If you're wondering what's up with the 500 is done. I've just been waiting on my buddy Travis to get his going, because I want to do a riding video with the both of them. So if it takes any longer, I'm just going to do it without them. But this thing right here, like I say, going up for sale. Got some more stuff coming up. Y'all just stay tuned and make sure your notifications are on, and leave comments if need be, and check out the first channel, RPM Auto, and that's it. So the Polaris 400, 325, 300, it's got everything on it. It's together, and it's gonna be going to someone that wants to take it on and do something with it. All right, that's gonna be it. We'll holler at y'all later. Peace.
16 hours this thing has sold. Just put it on Marketplace last night. I already got a buyer. I say that's pretty good to just put it on Marketplace last night, late last night, and I already sold it. I think that's really good. But it's going to a new home, and the guy's going to take it and do what he needs to do with it and enjoy it. So I'm out of here. Let's go deliver this thing, move on to something else.